guys. That's right, Rooster. Welcome back to the homestead. What's growing on? I'm Brian Taylor, and today I'm going to be doing a little bit different kind of video. Everybody who likes to garden probably loathes the winter time unless you live in a tropical environment, and I am no exception to that. I've got the itch already, and it's just barely into January. It's over 100 days before our last frost is going to hit, where the real gardening experience can begin. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be cleaning up and preparing my raised bed garden area, just doing some chores to try to help fill that void. But I thought that I'd share with you my top 5 gardening channels that I enjoyed this year that helped me and really filled my curiosity interest void that I was filling, and those channels are going to be shown to you guys right here in this video. So let's get going. Alright, so the first channel on my list is going to be The Garden Nerd. It's back in Mesa, Arizona by a buddy of mine named Michael Overstreet. Only actually met him once, but we've had a lot of correspondence over Facebook, and he actually started his gardening channel the same time I started mine in Arizona, and it was refreshing to see his points of view and refreshing to have kind of a bar that I needed to set myself to. So as he kept climbing and climbing, because he does have a great personality, he does have a wealth of knowledge. He's a recent master gardener in Phoenix. Guy has a lot of really good information, and if you're planning on gardening in the desert, he's probably the channel you need to go to the most, because he has such a good wealth of knowledge, and he's not afraid to try new things, to get water to his plants, to change the way that our culture thinks about growing things in the Arizona desert. You know, there's kind of a taboo on using water, and he really has a strong wealth of knowledge on why all those things are nonsense, and that if we really want to solve some of the heat problems, especially in Arizona, that you need to stop planting rocks and concrete everywhere and start planting trees. So if you are in the Phoenix area or any desert that's similar to that, check out Michael over on The Garden Nerd. I'll put the link in the description.
What's up, garden nerds? Today we're going to talk about a horrible culprit, the leaf-footed bug, and how it does this nasty stuff to your pomegranate. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks and talk all about it. Come on, let's go.
Alright, so now let's talk about the next channel that I think you guys would be interested in. It's called Edible Landscapings with a Permaculture Twist, and it is also produced by another gentleman named Michael. Michael started this channel way back in 2010. He has over 200 videos, so it's not the channel that you're going to go to with the most content, especially for how long it's been around, but he has a modest 4,500 subscribers. But what really caught me onto his channel, and I think what's going to help it take off now that he's producing more content, is Michael is a permaculture guru. He's got over 20 years of permaculture experience, and I just happened to stumble upon his channel because I was very much into pawpaws and I wanted to get more information on them. But he's got some knowledge on some items that are just very different than what other people have, and he really integrates planting different varieties of plants together in order to make them be successful without the use of like traditional chemicals and fertilizers. So he's also the author of several books. One of them is called The Edible Landscape. You can check it out on Amazon. Very intelligent man. I think that you guys would get a lot out of following his channel, especially if you're growing in a temperate climate like we are here in Tennessee. I think his channel is more north than us, so I like to look at some channels that are more north and some channels that are more south and try to combine some of that knowledge so that I could be more successful. But hopefully you guys enjoy watching his content. Very good channel. All right, let's get back to the chores.
Hello everyone, I'm standing in the midst of a 10-year-old food forest here in the Catskill Mountains of New York.
Alright guys, so the next video on the list, or not video, the next channel on the list is from a guy named Steven. And Steven has been on YouTube since 2016. His channel is called Nature is Always Right. And he's one of the first big dogs I've got on this list because he's got over 312,000 subscribers. And I almost didn't include Steven and his channel on this list because it is a homesteading type channel, but I want to say, like the next one on the list as well, about 90% of what they do is gardening. So Steven has developed a no-till market garden, and for a good part of this year I got really interested in no-till. And for those of you who know us, that's one of the reasons why we were kind of inspired to move out here, is because we watched a really cool documentary called Kiss the Ground, and in that documentary they talked about how bad tilling was, and you know, the need for permaculture and different aspects. And so that's one of the reasons I was somewhat drawn into his channel. Now I will say he is very creative, almost an engineering spirit if he isn't an engineer, where he's coming up with good, you know, kind of farm hacks in order to overcome challenges that might come with growing on his property. So if you haven't already checked out his channel, which if you're into gardening on YouTube, you probably already have, I highly recommend you go visit Steven over there and see what he's got growing this year. So, all right, let's get back to work.
Hey you guys, welcome back to another Nature's Always Right video. This one's a really special one because only you are seeing it, the people on my team.
All right, so there's some crazy things that you'll find in your gardens as you come in and start cleaning them out. Things that you didn't notice, like all these eggs. I'm actually probably gonna leave these eggs in here. Yeah, there's some like dug under here. A lot of them are definitely not gonna be good eggs. They've been in here for a while. Don't even know if the hen is still around. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna bury these eggs in some of these holes. We'll let them break down and maybe they'll feed the soil. They've already basically frozen over. So I'm gonna leave them there. I've got some onion bulbs that I didn't harvest last year. Probably just gonna replant them and see what comes up. But it's a lot of cool stuff you learn when you're growing, especially when you're trying to do some maintenance. The next channel on my list is actually kind of a favorite of mine. It would normally be #1 on the list every year, but this year he really hasn't put out a lot of new content, and so that's why he's at the #2 spot. And that's Mark over at Self-Sufficient Me in Australia. Now Mark has been doing YouTube since 2011, and he's been pretty open and candid that he actually did YouTube to create an extra income stream for him and his family. And he shared a really fun video where he just one day he was out on vacation and all of a sudden his YouTube just started blowing up and really took off on him, and he was able to make a pretty good living. And if you've looked at, you know, his channel over the years, he's spawned off another channel, and he's basically just doing simpler, like less edited videos called Self-Sufficient Me 2. And he started a fun one for probably him and his family called Self-Sufficing Me, which is, you know, the adventures of him and his sons doing fishing excursions out there in Australia, which is really cool. But Mark, he's kind of one of a kind. He has a personality that I think everybody on earth could get along with. He's creative, he's trying new, he's like, I call him the mad scientist of YouTube gardening, because he will get in there and just, you know what, I'm gonna try to grow this by throwing out all my garbage in this raised bed for a year and just see what happens. And then he has this beautiful results, or he gets bad results, and he tells us. I think one recent one he just did was he did potatoes, and he didn't bury them at all. And Mark's a great guy. At the very end of that video, he goes, you know what? I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think this is going to work out very well. He gave some other options that might make it better, but he's not afraid to do a video that failed too, and I love that. So if you want to be one of the 2.2 million people that subscribe to his awesome channel, go ahead and follow him. The link will be down in the description. All right, we'll get back to work before we have one more video.
Said you could sow potatoes without burying them, or harvest potatoes. Still picking up a few from the back of the mulch. So what's my conclusion? In this particular experiment, I'd have to say I'm a little bit disappointed, because I think we could have done a whole lot better. Perhaps earlier in the year, if this experiment was conducted right in the prime of potato growing season, we might have got a better harvest out of it. But I'm not going to let it get away with it, because there were some things that I saw that you just can't deny, like slug damage, nematode type nodules. There was also rodent damage, and all these things happened because the potatoes were easy to get to.
All right. It's always fun getting some new garden beds in. So the last video channel on YouTube that I really enjoy this year, as much as I didn't want to enjoy it, I really enjoyed it, was the Millennial Gardener. Now, the Millennial Gardener is in the southeastern coast of North Carolina, and I thought I'd heard his name before, but I started watching a bunch trying to find his name in preparation for this video, and I couldn't find it. I know his dog's name is Dale. I think he's mentioned his girlfriend's name a few times, but I haven't really heard his name, so I apologize for not having that. So the Millennial Gardener started his YouTube channel in, I believe, 2018. Could be 16, but I think it was 18. And he has an impressive almost 550,000 subscribers. His content is superior to everyone else's content that I've really watched on YouTube as far as the information goes. If you are a backyard gardener, like you don't have a lot of space, he really shows you how to maximize your area, and he's creative with his ideas. I think he's an engineer. If not, he's one at heart as well. The way he designs some of his like trellises and his apple espla, I forget how you even pronounce that. It's where you stretch your trees out, esplanar. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. I'm not a word guy. So he is a word guy though, and he knows all of the technical terms, and he knows how to make those technical terms make sense to guys like me who just say water, dirt, good. You know, he actually has some really good insights. I think his persimmon video is probably the most comprehensive, detailed video on persimmons that I'd ever seen. And I know that's what the title says, but man, is it right. So this guy really knows what he's talking about. He's in a similar climate to me. He's in zone, I believe, 8A or 8B now with the changes, and I'm in 7A. And so when he posts a video, I usually know I've got a couple weeks to try to get the same things ready to try it here, which actually really works out well for me. I suggest if you follow garden channels, find one that's like a full zone, you know, warmer than you, so that you can, you know, kind of pace yourself in a way that'll help you and your garden channel grow. So I'm gonna get back to getting my winter garden area ready for springtime. So hopefully you enjoyed these channels, and follow them and follow mine, and we'll catch you on the next video.
What's going on, gardeners? It's Sunday, October 30th, and it is a pleasant fall day here on the southeastern coast of North Carolina. And on today's video, I'm going to share with you what just may be the most comprehensive guide to growing persimmons on the entire internet. Now, there is a tremendous amount of information in this video, and it took a lot of research to make.